don't know if you're one of those people who uses the phrase that people don't like change. Oh my God, people love change. If you think about it, they love the birth of a new baby, they love a new car, they love to go on holiday. Just yesterday we were having dinner with a group of people, and the two of them are both moving into a new apartment in Melbourne, and they're so excited about this whole arrangement they have and the new veranda they have. I just moved into a place in Hong Kong, and I couldn't wait to move to my new place. So why do we use this expression? I believe that most people, when they think of change, think of something that's negative. So for example, let me give you a positive experience. When Oprah was doing one of her shows, she actually gave away to every member of the audience a new car. Do you think those people said, "Oh, I hate change"? No, they didn't. But yet there are many times in organizations where it does happen poorly. Let me give you an example. A state-run organization decided to invest $15 million with a software development company to change the way in which they did business. They used to give out hunting and fishing licenses, and it took somewhere in the neighborhood of about 20 minutes to get a license. Well, with the new software upgrades and the new changes, it took 5 hours and 14 minutes. Now, I got to believe that in terms of the organization and the employees there and the way they operated, that's change that they didn't like. What people don't like is they don't like change that's negative or change that's negative and unexpected. We do love change, and we do love change that's positive and unexpected. For example, if we were to win the lottery and we were to get this windfall, that's positive and unexpected. I had my birthday yesterday, and I had some positive experiences, unexpected experiences. So how do we change this concept? I think one way to do that is, or the view is to change the perspective that you might be taking when you're thinking about it. So I'll give you an example to illustrate this. Kyle is a manager of an organization, and he goes out and he goes to a conference, and he comes back with a handful of new ideas, sits down with his management team and says, "Let's go do this." Now, he has a history and a track record of coming up with brand new, grandiose ideas and none of them following through. Everybody kind of says, hey, it's not going to go anywhere, and pretty soon the idea is lost to the next idea that he comes up with. So let's change that scenario in this one situation. Let's change it. Kyle goes to the conference, and this time, when he gets back to his office, he doesn't start working immediately on it. What he does is he sits down to extrapolate how this could work. What would the plans be? Who would be the best person? He comes up with the idea that Mary would be the best person, and the return over 3 years would be $200,000 in terms of return. He decides if he brings Mary in, he says, "Mary, if you deliver this on time and on budget, you'll get a $2,000 raise." Now, Mary looks at that and says, "Is this annually?" Yes, it's not just the project. Most people don't realize that profits pay for salary increases. Profits are what expand our operations. It's not cash flow, it's profits. So if you could generate this return and do what you need to do, we'll move forward. Well, then what happened was, as Mary does go out, she tries it and says, "Oh my God, these plans are suited for me. The project is suited for me." And they end up getting what's called a WSP, a wildly successful project. And a wildly successful project is a project that comes in above the standards of normal. Throughout Paid to Think, you'll hear about WSPs, and it's a way of expressing that there are certain desired outcomes that people expect. For example, you might expect to have a 5% annualized return, and yet, if you came in at a 12% return, that would be an unbelievable position. Imagine if you can consistently come up with WSPs. What happens is the people around you start to believe that you're a winner and that you can deliver, and that's key. So let's imagine that this happens, and Mary is successful. He goes to another conference, another event, comes up with another idea, plans it through, comes up with the tools and methodologies, invites Mary into the room and says, "Mary, got another project for you. This one will take 6 months to do. But if you deliver on time and on budget, you'll receive another $1,000 a year." She looks at it and says, "Well, the last project went off. Well, I'd love to work on this project." And she not only delivers it on time, she delivers it early because it was well thought out. So now let's figure that Mary is done. She doesn't have a project. Kyle's walking down the aisle. Do you think she's not going to say, hey Kyle, you have another project I can work on?" And that's because she sees him as a winner, that he can deliver. And that's the type of approach that I'd like to see you thinking about when you think about change. Change is something that people absolutely love. If you rethink the concept that change is important, change is acceptable, then what you'll see is that there's opportunities all over the place to be able to start creating impact. What that means, though, is you have to start thinking things through and tying in the concept of enterprise thinking, shifting to the you component, you spending the time, you spending the energy, and doing what your role is, what you're paid to do, which was to develop a new future for the organization, plan it through well enough that you can put your team in place to win those successful gains. So for me, I look at change as positive. For me, I think that if I do things right and if I make it plans right, you'll find that people love change. Are you up for the challenge?